We need to get to where we're doing that because the slicing becomes the next major challenge. Let's see what Power says.
The one I started writing today.
Have you gone to GitHub, because you can get the full source code to Slick 3R slicer. That might give you a starting point. Maybe you're just such a rocket scientist that you don't need any.
Cura is fast. Oh yeah, we've heard that. Like
but,
the slicing parse goes really fast with Cura.
Fast to slice, but I'm not unhappy with Slicer 3 anymore. The latest one's quite a bit faster.
The release candidate 3 is quite nice.
More, it's the build strategies that impress me or don't impress me. So it'll be interesting to see if you can do an object and say this object's that head and that object's that head. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. Well,
you're writing a cloud service?
Yes, that's what he had mentioned he was going to do.
Wow.
You know, for slicing, that could be very interesting. You might have, you might sell a service for $1 a month or something like that, where people can have access to your slicer. And I would think that if it's a good slicer, and of course I have no reason to believe you wouldn't do the best, it could be a real business model for you.
Yeah. So Cura is more like Repetier. Oh, interesting. Okay, so the way you set it up, and yeah, that makes sense. There are a lot of there are a lot of.
It's a big program. I mean, it's a big task. I'm impressed at what they've done.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that I love having access to all the code. Now it looks like Cura has a GitHub repository, so I don't know if that repository is the full source or not.
That's on, yeah.
Open source software.
Wow. Okay.
Well, it bears looking at, because
Absolutely.
It's a no-brainer for us to write a post processor for it. Really, we take all the same G and M codes as the what's the one that's on there that says to use it? One of the most common printers. It says it right there on the screen. You do it for this printer. You have the little pull-up bar. Anyway, don't worry about it. So we should be compatible with the exception of how the ACK codes are done, and we actually handle that in the data transport layer, so the slicer has nothing to do with that. And then you got just 5 lines of code or 8 lines of code to set up the print head characteristics. And I'm making it so you don't even have those pretty soon. How do you like that? Did you know that?
You mentioned something like that yesterday, but unfortunately it was so late in the day, and my mind was kind of blotto.
Yeah.
So
the way it works is this: there are several parameters that define the amount, the volume of material that's requested, and the volume of material can be calculated by the nozzle width times the layer height times the velocity to give me volume per second or volume per minute, if that makes it easier for you to calculate. So that information is sent to the hothead, and we say, hey, I'm moving at 25 millimeters a second, so you already know what my height and my width is, so how many pulses I need per nanoliter times the amount of nanoliters I need per second divided by the pulses per nanoliter gives me pulses per second. It's very straightforward. Anyway, you don't need to know all that. What you need to know is that you just tell the head the layer height and the nozzle width. Mm-hmm. And then the F automatically comes through. You don't have to worry about that. So the feed rate is already given automatically via the G code. So when the F argument comes through to our motion controller, he goes, wow, it's going to move it this fast. I'm going to pass that information up to the hothead. So it does it automatically. So it's a no-brainer. Cool.
Like that. Let's see. No promises. Just starting. I sliced the Cura, but not learned how to print. And I tried to print with the G code yet. So he has sliced. Interesting.
Who?
Jim. Mr. Bowers.
Nice. It'll be fun to see what your product evolves as. What's the net result of your labors there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it will be something worth looking at.
We'll give Cura a try this week. At least I know I will.
maybe that's something for Midnight Manufacturing to go and do a side-by-side thing.
Ooh,
He's
Charles.
always asking if he can do some top-secret experimental stuff for us.
Yeah.
Anyway.
If you'd like to try that out, Charles, absolutely.
Yeah. Listen, it's time for me to go. I'm going to turn into a pumpkin.
Both of us.
Thank all of
Yes.
you for checking in. Thank you for being patient with our tired, dilapidated, but happy selves. Satisfaction is glowing from us.
Yes.
And more and more of you will receive printers
Yes.
as we are actually making them. So 1,000 thank yous. This community will start to flourish now that we've been shipping and now that we're starting to get the stuff going. And I think that what will happen is each month it will almost double in its flourishment. So I really look forward to seeing you guys starting to share information with each other like you're doing with us on the broadcast and seeing how this can light up and go do some good stuff. Anyway, 1,000 thank yous and thanks a lot.
All right, guys.
Good night.